Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and we are going to review Luce, which is a new movie directed by Julius Onah. This movie stars Kelvin Harrison Jr. alongside Octavia Spencer, Naomi Watts, and Tim Roth. It's an indie movie that many have not heard of, but it bolsters a big cast, and it bolsters a big messages. Is it a message, Cole, or is it more of an exploration of a theme? Well, I would say the latter. My thought wasn't particularly well thought out when I said that. And it's sad that you probably haven't heard of this movie. It really is a shame, and it's not your fault. There doesn't seem to be a large campaign behind this movie. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It has a great cast. It's socially relevant. It's thrilling. It's as thrilling a mystery as you're going to get this year. Nearly edge of your seat, I would say. And for an indie crowd, it's absolutely intriguing, just the subject matter that it's tackling. And it does not let you off the hook like other movies where race plays a theme. It does not try to make you feel good in the end. This is the movie that everybody's asking for. And at the same time, where is the campaign? Why don't people know what this movie is? We're here to help recommend that you go see this movie. Luce is about a model, valedictorian black student who's adopted by white parents at the age of 10, and his conflict with his also African-American teacher. She's concerned about an essay he wrote in which he seems to advocate violence against oppressors. And that is where brings it up with the parents begins. Is concerned. The entertainment factor, I think it's really there. One of the critics in the preview says psychological warfare, which I think is a really good way to describe it, because it is an intense movie, and there are moments where the anger that a lot of the characters are feeling really boils up, and it comes out in ways that were unexpected. At a couple moments in this movie, it reminded me a little of Black Klansman, how that movie had this anger that kind of bubbled up and released at a couple moments. I mean, this movie I would say is more intense for sure, and a lot of it is ambiguous. It leaves you asking a lot of questions, but I don't think it's in a way that is unappealing. I think we got the answers that we deserved and that we should have gotten, Cole. It wasn't even that mysterious. It's questions that you would like to continue to explore. It's not like the entire movie is unexplained. It's just there are things in the movie that you can fill in the blanks on and do your own discussing. Well, I think the main complaint for this movie seems to be that, we leave this movie not understanding Luce, the character, and to me, we've gotten so many answers that feel like the movie is definitively about this thing, and that we can actually understand his motivations well enough that I don't want to know who he is. I don't want to come away with an understanding of Luce is this. The whole point of the movie is that you don't come away with that understanding, and some people feel like that robs the movie of something. I feel like it gains something from that. You're wondering the right things, though. Exactly. I understand leaving a movie and being I don't know what was going on. That's not the case. It gives you answers as to what happened, who did what. All of that stuff is answered in the end. It's not a puzzle you have to figure out. Maybe you're not sure what's about to say, but you grapple with it in a way it's actually really helpful for you to understand what the movie is about. This movie bolsters some magnifico performances, I must say. Oh, absolutely, Cole. Naomi Watts. Where's she been lately? Not a whole lot, but she's really great here. She's in some weird movies. She was in A Door. And where's Tim Roth been? I mean, he's better than he's been in many years, I think, in this movie. The two reunited after Funny Games. Did you realize that, Justin? I did not realize that. It's very interesting. I would say that those two performances, while they have great moments, are not the standouts. I think there's a league above them. Is Octavia Spencer ferocious. Oh my goodness. Ferocious performance. Octavia Spencer is extremely well developed as a character, and just from every scene, it's fantastic. If this movie was on the Oscar radars more, she would be getting this nomination for sure. She is Oscar worthy in so many scenes. She has many Oscar scenes, one in particular. This is her best performance since The Help. She leaves you if ever. I want Octavia Spencer in my movies. I want her in the lead role in my movies. I want her to stop being a supporting character. In this one, she's nearly a lead. It's a fantastic character for her to get to explore, and she does it in such a perfect way. I mean, she's so natural. She's just one of the most natural actresses. Just totally embodies their characters. What you see coming out of her throughout the movie, and how her character develops. Like, it's the core of the film. And it is easily one of the best performances I have seen this year. I would give her the Oscar if I could. However, she's not even on Gold Derby right now. I mean, what gives?
Where
Octavia
is she?
Get her on Gold Derby and get her
goodness.
some nominations. I'm really going to be upset this Oscar season, I think, because I don't really think she's going to get in, because where's Luce? Where is Luce? Why aren't people talking about Luce?
Decently at the indie box office right now. It's expanding.
I'm nervous for its expansion,
expanding
to be honest
right
with you,
now.
Paul. It has such potential for word of mouth. I mean, you literally come out of the movie wanting to talk about it.
Forget the Oscars. Octavia Spencer is giving an awards-worthy performance here, and you better go see it if you care about great performance. She makes the movie. So many layers peeled off, and each one of them, she nails it. She makes you believe it, and you realize that she's really playing with all these layers on at the same time. She is dressed up for winter in all these layers.
Now, Cole, what about Kevin Harrison Jr.?
I thought he was very good.
I mean, he was excellent, I would say.
I would say that one of my issues with the movie, I mean, maybe my overarching issue, and I don't have many, is that sometimes his character was played a little like too, I'm being manipulative right now. And I don't know if that was like his performance of the direction, but I think that sometimes it felt a little too easy to read him as manipulative, when it seems that the movie wants you to read him as like ambiguous as to what he's really doing, but a lot of times it was a little too on the side of him being like a little like evil sociopath.
Well, I guess that's a big question in the movie. I don't necessarily think it's a performance flaw, but it's like
I don't know if
how sociopathic do we want his? This could be a valid criticism of the movie. Is he presented as a sociopath? And is that regressive to what the movie's trying to say? I don't think that's the point of the movie. But also, you have to say, given his circumstances, he could have some serious trauma that it makes sense that he could be that way.
There's a lot in the movie that you could use as evidence for why he is this way, and there's a lot in the movie that does subvert that persona. He's more than just that.
Yeah.
So overall, like, it overcomes some of that. So I didn't really have too much of a problem with it, and it didn't keep the movie from being thought-provoking and impactful.
I mean, his performance, though, there's the one scene in the end where he, like, lets out that laugh was, like, incredible.
Yeah, he has really great moments. Even the last shot, I was really, like, impressed. I don't know.
I thought that was a great way to end it.
The last shot was amazing.
Because that's, like, a layer that you didn't get.
His face, and I will say, Naomi Watts and Tim Roth, again, were really great. They're so conflicted on, like, what should they believe about their son? What do they want to believe about their son? All four players in this movie are just fantastic, and each one of them is treated so well, given layers, given arcs.
What's great about this movie is it doesn't let you off the hook. It's actually posing some challenging questions about race, and it makes it into a complicated subject that we can't just leave the theater and feel good about. We really have to consider what somebody goes through who is having this conflict with their identity, and what their country might mean to them, or how their environment might be affecting their identity. It presents it as a challenging, complicated issue, and it challenges audience members in their own perceptions, I think. And most movies that are about these things absolutely like let you off the hook. They don't. They let you feel good at the end. Green Book is a perfect example of that. Black Klansman, even, I think, is a good example of that. Do the Right Thing is not a good is a good example of what, the same way that Luce is a good movie, Do the Right Thing is like that.
I would also want to
in that league.
Shout out Blind Spotting is a good movie. I mean, the idea that in America it's a compliment if you say to somebody that you're black but you're not black. Like, that is the conversation that this movie is having. Luce is the model minority in a lot of ways.
He's the ideal of, like, what we want to be, someone who can transcend their race. And ultimately, at the end of the day, is that possible in modern America? You succeed in every way without any sort of interpersonal consequence, almost ignoring the fact that this person, in this movie, who is an immigrant, has a different experience than everybody else. It shows you that it's actually inevitable. He carries this part with him. It's something that's very difficult for him to wash out.
And it's about how it feels to be in that position where America is molding you into something that maybe you didn't even choose. He is adopted into America, and as they say in the movie, he went through years of like therapy to become the model student that he was. And in many ways, you can take the adoption out of it and it still speaks to America, where there are immigrants or minorities who feel like the society is molding them to be a certain thing, and the frustration that might come out of that, or like, where is your identity lay? Is he who he presents himself as? Is he secretly somebody else? Does he not even know who he is because he's just been like shapeshifted since a young age, and there's just frustration that comes out of that, and he doesn't even know what to do with it?
As the mono minority, he cannot slip up. Whereas white people have the privilege of, like, they could get found with weed, or, like, you know, maybe, like, if they get found with weed, they don't get kicked off the football team, or, like, they get off more easy. Like, if you're a minority student, you're held to, like, a level of scrutiny that is unique to your race. And so upholding that level of expectations is what weighs on him. I think this is actually a good companion piece in some ways to Get Out. It's not an anti-hate movie where it's just, you know, we are progressive and we hate racism. We're against racism. Yay! It doesn't virtue signal like that. In the way that Get Out seems to go after, like, this perception of liberal accepting culture, this movie also does that. How accepting are we? Or is our way of accepting other races, like, also just sort of problematic?
Like,
sure.
the parents in the movie represent a lot of people in America who consider themselves very accepting. I mean, in this movie, they adopted a kid from Africa, and are they part of the problem to an extent that is very uncomfortable for them to confront?
I wanted to see this movie again after I saw it, and I literally almost stayed in the theater to see it again, and I chose not to. However, I really look forward to watching it again. I was riveted. It's one of the best movies of the year.
I agree that it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, and, you know, I might have a couple flaws with it, and maybe, in addition to the flaw I mentioned earlier, like, a couple moments that are just, like, a little bit, like, a dramatic moment is heightened to the bit where it just becomes a little bit cheesy. Minor flaws aside, I will award it with a 9 out of 10.
I'll go with, like, a light 10 on this one. I'm feeling like a light 10.
You guys spread the word. Get Octavia this nomination. If you don't see the movie, just trust us on this. She's freaking good in it. Her performance in Hidden Figures and Shape of Water, nowhere near this.
I'm going to start a campaign. Get Octavia Spencer a lead actress nomination. I'm tired of the supporting roles. Get her a lead role where she can get nominated and win an Oscar. Don't lose the
opportunity to see this movie.